Welcome back, y'all. XTech Talk. I'm here with my man Ray. He is the manager of AZ Guns, but he does an array of other things, no pun intended. So tell us about your titles, and then we'll get to the initial question.
My name is Ray. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I also am very involved as being a firearm enthusiast. So I also have an FFL for manufacturing, spinning up for custom firearms and bringing some products to the market and things like that as well.
So what was your initial experience that you can remember with a gun, from good, bad, or indifferent? How were you introduced to what we do today?
Childhood life, man. Introduced to firearms through friends and things like that had firearms back then when we were younger. Not exactly in a positive light, but in our community, especially with the trauma and violence we know of it, people have guns there around. I grew up in an anti-gun household, so it wasn't like it was introduced to me in a more structured way of gun safety or things like that. Like I remember in high school, especially, like the cheap high points people having them. We in the basement, someone look at my gun and we passing around loaded guns, looking at them, playing with them, not even knowing what we doing with them and stuff like that. So not positive, I can say that much for sure.
Now about is like, man, like most of the guns that we saw when we were younger, they only had like 4 or 5 rounds in the mags the whole time. Like I've
FMJ,
never seen
straight up FMJ.
Yeah, a full mag, and yeah, what you said, it's all ball. It's all ball ammo. So it's like, damn, we really had no idea what we were doing.
Not a clue.
Yeah,
not a clue.
Okay, so obviously you said you're an engineer now by trade. You do a lot of things in our industry, but where would you say that flip from I'm familiar with it, I've seen it in video games, I've seen it at friends' houses, I've been introduced to it passively, but now I actually want to get into the nuance of it. When would you say you can pinpoint that time?
100% undergrad. Took a shotgun class on shooting clays up there. It was an extracurricular course that was offered, and it kind of broadened the horizon, teaching you like the gun safety, how to track and shoot clays and stuff like that, and I found it extremely fun. And a friend of mine back then, we started going to the range and stuff like that. She was interested in it and intrigued by it too, so that just kind of spun and spiraled into life, you know what I mean?
Got you. And you said you came from Ohio and you ended up in Arizona. We'll get to that. Because that's a long road. That's almost as long from me coming from Virginia and ended up here.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I love
that. Where I grew up wasn't like the hood by any means, you know what I mean? But that's, I think, even more of a point to say that you don't necessarily have to be down the way to still end up in an environment where you're still coming across firearms. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, 100%.
And I think that a lot of it really stemmed from the fact that it's still the life we know and are brought into. You know what I mean? And the hood isn't far removed. Like, you're a generation away, typically, regardless. You know what I mean?
No, so for sure.
Because that's what I did. I grew up hooping. You know what I mean? All my life, and we traveled around, you know what I mean, hooping. So it was, you end up in sketchy areas, you end up in the suburban of the suburban areas, whatever. It's like wherever a good run is where you go. And along with that comes the hoop squad. Our team is where guns were the most prevalent. You know what I mean? Where I can recall verbatim, like we going to pull up on games, and in the gym bags, half the team got guns in them. You know what I mean? That's the trauma of it, man. And I'm not trying to praise that or highlight it in any good way, because like I said, that's the growth that we've seen as we've dove further into this industry and just developed and growth as men, where it's like those are the things we want to see eliminated in our community. That's what drove me to get into instructing, and all of those things were just wanting to see a different representation and also see our community utilize firearms in a different way, express ourselves in a different way, and in a positive manner towards it.
Yeah, you got started on your firearm professional path. What was the first gun that you bought, like, that was serious?
The first gun I bought was the day I turned 21. I bought FN, the FMP9.
Okay.
Hammer fired, polymer frame, stainless steel slide. Loved that gun, 100%, full size gun. I thought it was gonna be my end all be all, do whatever I need, carry, conceal, go to the range, practice, home defense gun. Like many people that get into guns, their first gun they think is gonna be the jack of all trades, and then you find out very, very quickly, like, not going to be the case. Like, this gun is annoying to carry, too heavy, it's sticking out of my jackets every time I move and do anything. I'm like, and I went down the whole game because, like I said, anti-gun household, I didn't have someone to teach me how to carry guns correctly, what positions to carry it in. That's all, you know what I mean, self-research that I was doing. So I did all of the shoulder holsters that I seen off of Bad Boys. I got to get the Miami Classic Galco. This gonna be dope. And you put it on and you like, how's this sticking out my jacket?
Yeah.
Like, nah, this ain't working.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. Dang, the shoulder holsters.
Yeah, man.
Like the what was it, the NYPD blue joints? That's what I remember.
Yeah, I mean, straight up, I wanted the Mike Lowry, man. I'm talking about the brown leather, the full shebang, man. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the dopest thing ever.
That's that's probably one of the movies that influenced me the most in a positive way about guns was Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
The shootout in the Zoe Pounder's house.
That was
and Bad Boys 2 when he does the
wall.
Crazy dope.
Crazy dope.
But you know what I always found funny now is that why are the mag changes like the most exaggerated part of the movie? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always the and the mags are falling. I'm like, that's not a good thing.
But you got to think about it. Even it's funny to say because even in a lot of the training regimen, when you look back a couple years, 1R1s, it was always about how fast you can reload the mag, how smooth you can be about reloading, and this and the other. It's like reloading has always been a fascination for some reason.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Okay. What other, since we weren't privy enough to be introduced to firearms correctly at a younger age, what was something that influenced you in a positive way?
So double-edged sword, it actually was a negative that turned out to be a positive, like I said, because it was an anti-gun household. I turned 21, I bought my first handgun, and I called my dad because he grew up in the South, had a bunch of guns. My mom told him no guns in the house once my oldest brother was born and all of that, so we got rid of them. I'm thinking I'm gonna call my dad, let's go to the range, I got a gun, it's gonna be a good thing, because my dad's like my best friend, you know what I mean? So we do all type of things together in life. Whatever venture we want to jump into, it's like, let's go do it, you know what I mean? That was the first fallout I ever had with my dad. I called him and he lost it. I was at Bowling Green. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours from Cleveland. He was there in probably 40 minutes. Like, straight on the road instantly. I don't even think he got off the phone before he got in the car, knocking on the door, give me the gun. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, what?
Absolutely not. So we almost got the blows. He like, I'm not leaving till you give me the gun. I'm like throwing the pillow, like, well, get comfy on the couch. Like, I'm not giving you the gun.
What was his thought process though?
A lot of the irresponsibility that I did have at that point in time that I didn't see. You know what I mean? You know, when you're younger, you think you're more mature and growner than you are. Looking back, I can recognize a lot of the irresponsible decisions I was making in life, being a little more hot-headed and different stuff like that. He was 100% correct in his outlook, especially as a parent, of saying, like, I'm not sure you're ready for this, you know?
Oh, okay.
That's also what pushed me to get my concealed carry license, because I did ultimately end up coming to an agreement with him where he said, give me the firearm right now, and if you go get a concealed carry license, since you just want to have it to go to the range and stuff like that, at least it'll make us feel more comfortable with you transporting a firearm, doing this and the other. My dad thought at that time, like, oh, he's gonna be over this, not go do all the extra leg work and this and the other, and I'll have the gun, I can go enjoy it at the range. You know what I mean? That'll be that. Within that week, I called him back, like, I finished the class, got my CCW license, I want my gun. You know, he was just shocked, like, all right, I can't do anything, but you know what I mean, give it back to you. And at that point in time, I wasn't even thinking about carrying. Legitimately, it was just, I like guns. I continue to study guns, continue to watch and research firearms and stuff like that in such detail and depth that I just want to go to the range and continue enjoying the shooting experience. Once I got the concealed carry license, that's where it started to dive further, because now my mind is, well, what gun am I going to carry? This gun is too big and awkward. The Uncle Mike's holster is trash. The shoulder holster ain't working. So I really started deep diving more, and Nothing Fancy was the premier YouTuber back then, and he loved the Kel-Tec PF9, and I was like, that gun is trash. I don't like it, and it's ugly. Aesthetics was a big thing for me back then too, so wasn't going for that. I ended up buying an officer size 1911 as my next gun. It was all stainless, rosewood grips. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the one. Started carrying that for probably about 2 weeks, and I was like, you know what? I want something lighter weight. I don't want the heavier guns. So then it was like within a month, I was probably up to 5-6 guns already. I was just buying. Yeah, I buy guns at a very rapid rate. A very rapid rate. Like, it's even at the gun store right now, it's a running joke of let's see what gun race taking home today, this week, or whatever. And sometimes it's multiple.
What'd you take home this week?
What did I take home this week? I did take some home. I'm trying to think. The M1 carbine and the FN 59. I took home both of those surplus guns. Yeah.
Okay.
M1 carbine was one I wanted to check off the list for a really long time.
Yeah.
And got a nice Korean War bring back surplus that was there.
Really?
Yeah. Rack numbers, the full shebangs, and all of that stuff on it. Yeah. So
that's sweet. That's kind of like this. This is my last pickup. Let me take this out because I'm pretty sure that one's hot. This is the Zastava M70 side underfolder, not side folder, but it is clear. You go,
brother.
But yeah, similar, same thing. Surplus kit. Obviously, they do whatever they do to bring it back here. Yeah, it's my first AK. I working for the AK Mag company. I was like, I guess it's time for me to actually learn about the platform.
Yeah.
I tried to do the paracord. I got to redo that. I'm left-handed, so
I was about to say. I was like, tell him that he's a lefty over here. You got the paracord on that one right side. Back when I was looking at it, it was the Century Arms, man. Those Yugo underfolders that I was thinking about picking up, man. And I never pulled the trigger on it. And then I kicked myself because naturally the importation ban and all of that stuff caused prices of AKs to start going through the roof. Hated it, but I got to check this one off the list still too, man, like for sure. And one of the things that I always paid attention to with the underfolders is that I'm more fond of the underfolder that comes with the stock kind of going straight and parallel as opposed to the angle one. So that was also a big thing for me back then. I was looking, and Gunbroker was like the place to buy guns back then. So it was like trying to figure out which one to get, what deal was going to come through, and never got to pull the trigger on it.
You are shopping as an engineer mind, and engineers to me are a perfect combination of an artist and a scientist. You know what I'm saying? Really, you could throw in mechanic if you want to, but even back when we first started, early 2010s, because I got my first one 2015.
Okay.
So right around there. What was a creative's mind looking at a gun? What were you looking at and seeing the possibilities or capabilities in a gun then?
Right.
To the point where now where you said like, yeah, I'm actually gonna design my own stuff. So what was that like?
Back then for me, like I said, aesthetics was a big thing. So a lot of it was what gun I felt like looked like a gun I wanted, and then what had the modularity or capability of expanding on and tweaking and changing to add my own flair to it and stuff like that. That's why ARs, you know what I mean, grabbed me. Especially back then, it wasn't a lot of manufacturers out, and then it was always the questionability of reliability, and like Rock River Arms was the big brand and everybody was saying and stuff like that, because you really had like DPMS, Bushmaster, Colt, like a couple of guys that were really out there playing in the game. Because I remember LWRC dropping, and they had the spiral fluted barrels, and they were on the cover of magazines and stuff. I'm dating myself a bit with that one. And it's funny because ARs grabbed me, but because of the caliber wars and stuff back then, I remember reading through forums, AR15.com, and all of this stuff, where people were constantly arguing 7.62 by 39 versus the 5.56 round, and 5.56 being a milder cartridge, and this, that, and the other. But I was like, if I'm gonna get a gun, I want something that's gonna have a thump. You know what I mean? So I ended up picking up an AK before I ended up getting the AR back then too. And I picked up a Draco. You know, ironic, but the Draco didn't even have the wrap that it has now. You know what I mean? At that point in time. But I was like, I wanted something more compact. I've always been kind of fond of the sub gun, compact gun, AK-74U, stuff like that, over a full-length rifle. So I was like, I want the Draco. I want to do something with it. And people were, at that point in time, man, it was the paracord loop you were putting through under the actual pistol grip as a point to attach your sling and stuff. You know what I mean? And then somebody came out with the plate. I forgot who that was that had the little fold on it that you could actually clip on.
I forgot who it was too.
But that was before pistol braces, all of that stuff. You know what I mean? And I got it, and I remember I took it out to shoot it for the first time, and I was like, this ain't exactly as fun, you know what I mean? Just rocking and doing all of this, trying to push out against a single point sling. It was like, you can get it done, but I don't feel as cool as being like I can actually get on target and do stuff.
Right, yeah.
And then the braces rolled out. I picked up one of the original XB Tactical braces, the fat, big brace, you know what I mean, on it. Yeah, and that was my setup. Changed it out for a quad rail on the fore end. Did the dust cover swap for the rail on it and stuff like that. Back then they didn't even have like rails or dust covers that had pick rails across the top. It was you had to change out the sight block and stuff like that to get it to clip on and all of that.
Dang.
So yeah, that's still how it's set up today, man. But the fascination has never stopped. You know what I mean? Like, still to this day, I literally mean it. I fall asleep watching YouTube, watching reviews, watching people do long-term testings, whatever. Or just, I find enjoyment of the creative space of seeing what people's expression towards firearms are. You know, we got a lot of people in the industry now, and I hate this word. I feel like people just love to use it and over-abuse it, but the shilling, you know what I mean? I hate that so many people want to try to be so hard on firearms just to try to feel like they're giving themselves a reputable name and factor by saying they're not appreciating a firearm, whereas for me, that's what I actually enjoy about firearms. Every gun isn't as good as the next one, but it's a different design, some different thought and ingenuity that went into it, and why we see variants in guns. This one working better than that one, this one designed with this type of a design system or whatever. It's like, I enjoy that, and I can enjoy the simplicity of respecting a firearm for what it is, and also the enthusiast in me understands that I'm not looking for one gun to be the top dog and that's the only gun I need to get. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I've had the ATF come to my house twice for the frequency of guns that I purchased. Like,
really?
Yeah.
How did that go?
I mean, interesting. Honestly, it was no issue. You know what I mean? But then one time they came was funny, man. They tried to set up this whole like sting operation and stuff, and I actually wasn't home at the time, so they ended up calling me, asking, you know, where I was, and they tried to say like, would I come into their office? And I was like, absolutely no way I'm going there, because if I go in there and y'all decide something weird, I can't leave back out. I was like, no, I'll meet you back at the house. You know what I mean? So I pull up, and then obviously it's like it's my neighborhood, so I notice all of these random vehicles parked along the streets, different places. So I'm like, really, this is what we doing? Like, I literally got out and put my hands up like, what we doing? Y'all want to come on down? And you see all the cars coming from the different directions and come up. They hop out. They were cool dudes though, super cool dudes, and just asked me like, hey man, like, we seen you purchase guns like in very large quantities. Like on this day you picked up 10 Glocks, like some of them consecutive serial numbers, whatever. And I was like, yeah, just like guns. They were like, well, are you selling them? What are you doing? I was like, no, I'm like, one's in my waistband, one's in the door panel of my car, one's under that couch you're sitting on, a bunch of the other ones downstairs right there. Like, and they just laughed and chuckled and was like, all right, answered that question. Like, cool. I was like, yeah, like, that's just that way they came in. You know what I mean? I picked up police trade-ins in large batches. I love the Glock 22, just being real with you. So I bought like 10 or 12 of those at once or something like that in one period, because they were like $225. Like, they were cheap. I wanted them. Give them to me. You know what I mean? I'm like, now I got a backup. This one goes down, whatever, because that was my like go-to training gun back then at that point in time too. So I was like, if it goes down, I got another one. I got a spare to use. You know what I mean? So,
got you. So, training. You're a trainer too. You said you've been training for 16 years now, right? Okay. What was the inspiration to get into the training part?
Full circle moment, man. My dad.
Really?
Yeah. When I
shout out to Pops.
Man, huge shout out to Pops, man. Love you, Pops. When I got back, when I got into firearms and got my gun back and started going into it and stuff, I literally got him into guns again. And I remember at that point, my cousin Brandon and I, we were going out to go rabbit hunting, you know what I mean? And he would hunt with his uncle and stuff all of the time, and he was telling me about, he went out and some rabbit they got or whatever, and I was like, man, I want to go. And he was like, we're going out today. So I was like, let's swing to the gun store. I'm gonna get a shotgun right now and we'd get out to the field. So I stopped and picked up a Remington 870, and we were headed out. And I told my dad, I was like, man, we went out and went rabbit hunting today. And he was like, man, I'd like to get out there and go hunting with y'all. So I was like, dope, like, let's do it. You know what I mean? So he picked up a shotgun and we jumped back out in the field hunting, and then that was his gateway back into it. He was like, I think I'm gonna pick me up a couple of pieces again now and stuff like that. So yeah, man, huge shout out to Pops on that. And through that, him getting back into guns, he was the one that brought it to me and said, like, what do you think about doing the instructing stuff? Because his exact quote, he said a lot to our students, it was that he was so gung-ho about me getting my concealed carry license for the transport and stuff like that. He was like, he realized he was being hypocritical because he didn't have his, and he was like, he wanted to go through and follow suit on getting his own. Then at that point, when he took his class and I was helping him like brush up on skills and stuff like that with handgun shooting, his instructor actually said, like, like, you and your son, like, he knows a lot about this. He's really knowledgeable and he takes it serious. Like, maybe you guys should look into, instructing and stuff too. And he said, yo, you want to take the instructor course? He was like, I'll pay for the course if you're interested. And I was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And so we spun up our training company, Advanced Personal Defense Solutions, together, and went into that rabbit hole, man. And that was when even mom, grandma, aunties, everybody kind of put a little more respect on guns and seeing the seriousness and the nature of how I treat firearms, and sat through some classes and heard me speaking about them from that standpoint where they, appreciate it with that. So they got a little more supportive and stuff. My mom still has never touched a gun and won't shoot a gun.
Really?
She refuses. I'm hoping that I'll get her to turn that corner, because even her mom, my grandmother Nana, man, my heart, she even came out because I was doing like AR and cigar events and stuff like that back in Ohio, putting those on, and they would come out and help, cooking food, serving stuff, whatever, assisting with customers and all of that. And she was like, I want to try shooting. And then my aunt, got into it, and my mom's best friend, who I call auntie, literally was like, also like, oh, I want to learn about guns and this. So my mom was like, maybe I should learn. I'm just not ready yet, but I got hopes. That is
amazing, because everything you're saying, I'm like, yep, that happened in my family. Yep, that happened in my family. Yep, that, like, all of those. And not to like pivot to like my stories, but just to hear that you went through the same thing, as far as when you started getting into it, they looked at you like you were crazy. Fast forward to now, and they're looking at you like, hey, can you come help me with this? Yeah, all the time. I was just talking to one of my aunts about how her and her friends want to do a pistol class, and they were like, yeah, you really do need to come back to Virginia, because I got probably like 5-6 family members now that own their own guns. Like, one of my cousins, he did a complete 180 and decided to start his own firearms rights restoration program for felons, because he wanted to get his back. So yeah, man, it's pretty dope to see those full circle moments, and how y'all were able to, you were the leader that got your family back into doing something, not even just about the firearms, but together as a unit, you know what I mean? And on top of that, it's beneficial for everyone. It's a life skill that everyone should know. So that's amazing.
Invaluable life skill, you know, because my whole thing is, I tell this to customers, students, people all the time, is learning about firearms, getting a concealed carry license. These things don't require you to ever deal with a gun if you don't want to. Nobody says because you go and take a class that you have to own a gun, or that you have to carry a gun because you have the license. None of that. It just gives you the flexibility of the option, and now you can do it legally in a safe manner that you understand. Or if you're exposed to firearms in a sense, like we talked about coming up, you could be the person in the room to say, like, keep your finger off the trigger, or don't point that at me, keep it pointed in a safe direction, or make sure that's unloaded, and know how to clear or check a firearm to make sure that it is actually safe and clear, even, so
that's dope. That's dope. Okay, so let's get into this travel story of starting in Ohio, now you're in Arizona. How did that happen?
Initially, it was, I came out here to visit, and I was like, man, I like the city, I was entertaining the idea of leaving Cleveland, but at the same time, Cleveland is home, man. Like, the infrastructure and network built up there is like, it almost makes it hard for you to want to leave. But it's a very small city for the weight that it carries as far as the name, you know what I mean? But it's like everybody there is tangible to you once you start getting into the networking or social structure, especially as a young professional. So it's literally like, I don't care who it is. If it's somebody to get in touch with in Cleveland, it's like either I know them directly already, or I can make one phone call and probably have 6 or 7 other people that know them to introduce or connect the dots, or whatever the case may be. And I mean that in a very literal sense. Like, I've had the mayor out here with, like, all type of stuff. Like, whoever is like one call away. And that's where it kind of clicked to me of saying, like, it's time to kind of branch out, you know, for my own growth and development, to continue not only just the firearms, but also my career or personal endeavors and entrepreneurship ventures. It's like I have to expand my network and continue to develop as a person. So started entertaining where would I go. Number one thing on my list is always gun laws and what the regulations are in the state or the city. And I'm like, I'm definitely not moving somewhere where firearms are regulated heavily in that capacity to restrict me from my rights and being able to own the things that I love and want to enjoy. In Arizona, Phoenix specifically, is a place that it fits that bill. You know, not only fits
100%.
it exponentially expands upon it. You know, the shooting community out here is so vast. The manufacturing industry support out here is so vast.
Oh, this is OEM capital of the country when it comes to the gun industry. Training, same thing. Gun sites this year. Like, I'm pretty sure, at least as of right now, Nils Jonasson, the best shooter in the world, is in Arizona right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's right here. That, like, I remember getting that feeling when I got here. Was like, okay, like, I made it to the league.
That's exactly
like everything prior was cool, but like this is where it's really at.
That's
in
exactly
Arizona.
How it feels. You get
Arizona,
out here,
I'd say a little bit of Texas, Georgia, Florida, but as far as quantity, it's here.
I mean, the machine gun shoots, all the different demo events, all of that stuff out here is like, it's unmatched, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And then obviously Cleveland is home of the overcast skies, so weather is a big factor. Wanted to get to some sunshine instead. You know, I'm getting older now. You know, I'm starting to ache a little more in the cold. You know, a little washed up. But I wanted to just get a different experience. And then I work in the aerospace and defense sector on the engineering side, and it's also a huge hub here for that. So it was a very soft landing, finding a company and a home out here. Jump right into Northrop Grumman and stuff like that, and continuing to work on developing some of the cool stuff that I was used to.
So it was all about the vision and the trajectory that you knew you had for yourself. There were no, hey, friends, come move down here. It was,
I mean, no,
you were cavalier with it.
It's weird because,
all pun intended when I say that.
it's weird because there are very few experiences I can recall of me traveling somewhere and not knowing somebody there already, right? So I knew several people out here in Phoenix already too. So part of Cleveland, like I said, the network and the vastness of it is, it's like an incubator. You know, people that are talented are also motivated and ambitious. So people leave, further their careers and further themselves too, and they set up in different pockets. You visiting and doing this and the other, so you fall right in line of, I came here and didn't miss a beat. You know, I never came here and felt lonely. It was like I came here and I know multiple people that I'm still like, oh yeah, I'm here, let's get together, let's do this, and so forth and so on. And then the shooting community, all of that, it was like already an embrace. You know what I mean? It was like I got out here, pulled up to a demo shooting event. EVT, East Valley Tactical, had one, and this is when they were doing a lot smaller scale events. It was out in Queen Creek. They had Diligent was out there. They had it $25. They had Diligent out there with the suppressors. That's actually how I ended up buying an Enticer S. Loved the can when I demoed it, and I was like, that can's crazy quiet and dope, and I had to pick one up, you know. But met a couple guys out there, just like, you know, organic nature, and it was like, hey, let's get out and shoot sometime, like, and plugged right into shooting again. So
yeah, shout out to EVT too, because
definitely,
as someone who is a contributor, host, whatever you want to call it, for Recoil and us hosting CanCon, and this be my first time going to another suppressed range day being EVT, to see an FFL be able to pull that type of range day off was very, very impressive. And it was, honestly, I think it was almost a response when the NRA started to take some heat, and we started seeing other smaller pockets of the country start popping up with those events. I don't know if EVT was a direct response to that, but I was excited to see a lot more of those events coming up. And yeah, Healy just did their own at Phoenix Rod and Gun. So yeah, the more the better. So as an engineer, as a trainer, as what I would consider a modern day activist, you are active in everything that you're doing. You know what I mean? You're involved in it. You're not just talking about it. What are you excited to see in the gun industry over the next 1 to 3 years?
For me, one of the things that I genuinely love is right now I'm starting to see more of the, what I would call, artistry with guns surface. We're seeing more people actually jump into firearms in a lane that aren't traditionally involved in firearms. There are literal artists that are getting involved with Cerakote and customization and stuff now, and we're seeing that grow to a crazy scale that's amazing and dope. And that's kind of what I love about guns in general, is that it's an expression of art to me. You know what I mean? How you set it up, how you accessorize it, what your color combination. Oh, speaking of that, I'll pass this to you. I was telling you I brought in one of my guns that had you guys grip on it.
To add to your point about that, one thing I want to see, I don't know who can do it. Maybe my man Garrett. Garrett, you might be able to get this done. But I want to see Cause do at least it doesn't have to be a gun, but a merch line with somebody. I don't know who it is, but Cause needs to do something
100%
with the gun industry. But
100%.
Show us what you got.
Man, this was that AR build that I did. Man, I actually built this during one of my AR and cigar events that I had. I did a live demonstration of a build and stuff like that out there, and put this baby together. And this was probably the first time I spent that type of money in guns. Put a lot of money into doing stuff with this, from even down to the PVD coatings and stuff, and it's filthy right now, but that stuff was not even
guns is for boredom.
I know. It was something that wasn't even like well done back then, or well as commonly done back then. So the engineering space, since we used a lot of those things and seen the benefits of the surface frictions. 10-3.
10-3.
Yeah. You know, it was like I seen the benefits of doing some of the coatings and stuff back then. So I literally sent out to some of the vendors that I knew from working in the aerospace industry and was like, hey, can you do this for my BCG? And I was like, I want to do it on a barrel too, and a muzzle device, just to give it, you know, the aesthetic flair.
Yeah,
all of that.
This
so
is fire.
Yeah.
Does this have 3 positions?
So it's a binary in there.
Oh, okay.
I had just left it pinned back there or whatever and stuff when I did it, just because it was more of just like an art piece or whatever.
You did not discriminate against us lefties with this, so I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I was actually just harassing my boy Kevin Dixie about the 510C because I wanted to steal one of his. Yeah. But
the 510C is dope. I like the fact that was one of the first optics that I seen come over that had as large of a window as like an EOTech, because I run a lot of EOTechs. That's my go-to optic that I put on platforms.
EOTech tried to sue Hollow something, right? Yeah.
Then they threw that reticle in there, and I was like, it's something that's a little different. Now, don't get me wrong, I prefer enclosed stuff than an open emitter, but you know, I felt like with that build, it added the flair that I wanted for it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Even down to using the fur fans on there and all of that stuff, or the muzzle blast deflector and all of that stuff. I was like, man, let me just do something that's going to give it that seamless fit with the rail and handguard. Did the SLR handguard and stuff on it, man, and just wanted to have a showpiece, I guess, in the collection at that point.
And you got the XTech ATG on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
that's actually the one that I got on mine too.
Right. Yeah. I will say though that, like, to me, one of the things that I do appreciate, man, is guys like Iron Monkey jumping into it, doing what they're doing with it. Pinstripe by Rat was a big influence on me. Deadlock Coatings, huge shout out to them. The guys that helped me with this baby right here coming to life and all of that, man. Like, it was the innovation in that sense. It was like, okay, like, guns can have a whole different type of flair. It's not just it has to be stainless or chrome. It's like, give it real life. You know what I mean? Since
you like the artist side, check out the 2A artist.
Okay.
He does foam cases.
When I follow him on Instagram.
That's my boy Pete.
Yeah.
He's been doing them joints for forever.
And speaking of that, shout out to JT's Gun Vault, because another big major player and an influence in the game too. He does a lot of their cases. I don't know if he does all of them or not, but he does a lot of their cases too, and that's actually how I got hip to him. Was through JT's Gun Vault with his builds and seeing the cases that were there. I followed him on Instagram and love it, man. I was just looking at a bunch of his videos the other day. How he's plucking foam, then hand painting stuff, doing all of this.
Pete.
Like, hats off to him, man. And that's the part that I think that also allows me to appreciate it so much, is that you realize how many people that aren't necessarily huge gun people that are gun people. Like, when I say huge gun people, I mean they're not openly promoting this as like, this is my life, but it's like they're doing things on a high level and scale.
I just have to add this because we're talking about him right now. he donated this Yui to me for no reason. He was he had 2 of them at his house, and I was like, "Yo, you still got that one?" Like, I'll buy it off. He's just sent it to me. He was like, "Keep it."
Gotta love good friends like that.
Dog,
bro.
what?
Gotta love
Yui?
good friends.
I said
like
we're
that.
friends for life, Pete. Yeah. But this is my tactical app. I was only showing it to you because it has the ATG on it as well.
Dope.
But 13.9 pin and weld, chemo system.
Dope.
I actually have the can that I blew off of that gun that didn't have any baffle strikes on it. It's sniper gray and black. I'm partially colorblind, so I'm probably always going to keep my guns either very, very vibrant, so where the colors don't have to match, or they're just going to look something neutral like that.
Streamlined and clean.
Yeah.
And that's what I dabble in both worlds with that too, man, because I still do. I feel like on a lot of my like more purposeful builds and setups that I have, I keep them more on that sleek. They're a workhorse, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily want my workhorse to be this flashy and doing all of that. It's like, nah, if this gun is coming out, it's for a whole different purpose. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
and I love that gun.
Beautiful setup. Definitely very telling of your setups being a lefty, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. You gonna know. You gonna know. That stream light, I think is the most underrated rifle light that's in the game right now. But it's
people
funny,
like
man. Their aesthetic.
Yeah, and a lot of guys prefer like the scout lights and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I feel like I'm a scout light person personally. But having the built-in switch that's on a ramp like that really is convenient. It makes a lot of sense and functionality too. And then, like you said, this stream light is actually a very purposeful light as far as like its capabilities and stuff too.
But that's my baby. Radian Raptor charging handle because I'm left-handed. Unity riser. And then the Vortex Yui, which is a dog. I love that.
Bro, I gotta check one out still, man. I haven't added one into my lineup of things to play around with or test out and see how I feel about it. But I am a whore for more robust blocky optics like this. That was one of the dopest things, man, that I thought about it too. And then also the fact that they had the pockets already set up for you to add in the grip tapes or the texture if you want to rubberize or something like that instead. Stippling wasn't on the radar yet when, you know what I mean, when that was dropped and when we were doing that stuff. But I think that's also a beautiful platform that's set up for you to stipple even if you wanted to, and right into there already has your borders and everything built into it.
For sure. But that was it, since
but it's funny you bring up the forward assist thing, man, because that is one of the aspects that I feel like is not necessary, you know what I mean?
I get it, but
aesthetically I like it.
It ain't there no more.
But
technology is a thing.
It ain't necessary.
I guess we can talk about difference of opinion on this. You have backup sights. I don't have backup sights.
No, that's the thing. I feel like it depends on which one. So like my primary go-to that I run is 11.5 BCM, right? And on there, I just got the XTech rolling. You know what I mean? I feel like I would put backup irons on stuff early on. Now I don't anymore, just like they don't ship from factories and distros with backups anymore, because it's like you get a quality optic on it. When are you ever really flipping that back up? You know what I mean? And I'm not a huge save every ounce that you can type of a person, but if it's a pointless thing on there, it's kind of like, why am I adding this weight for no reason? I could add some other accessory that serves a purpose and not, you know what I mean, need those instead. So
as an engineer and a trainer, let me ask you about this, because I saw the trend come in and essentially go out at the same time. But iron sights on a pistol with an optic in front of the optic, I know you've seen it too.
100%.
What did you think about it?
I never bought off on it, bro. I never did that one. I'm a person that's a firm believer. Like I said, I don't have a reason to beat up on guns or anyone's setup that they want to run. If you like it, I love it. You know what I mean? So if you found a reason or something that made sense in your head where it clicked to say, let me run it and put it here, it helps me see my sights easier or clearer or this, that, and the other. Who am I to tell you not to do it? Look, it's your shooting experience. You're the only person that got to be behind that gun when it matters. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But for me personally, nah.
So do you think the same way we got optics on rifles, no backups, do you think we'll ever get to that point with pistols?
I mean, guys are already doing it. You know, it's more in the competition world that I see it really done. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of things carry over that we see in competition to the defense sector or the civilian sector, especially of how we train what we think is functionality and proven concept, right? Competition shooters are putting a lot of rounds down range and this, that, and the other. So it's like, if they're able to do just that optic only on their gun and not seeing it go down in a sense to where they're like, it's a concern or this, that, and the other, it's only a matter of time before people carry that on, especially as optics are becoming so much more prevalent with handguns and stuff like that. Naturally, what's going to happen is the optics keep improving. You know what I mean? Because you think back, you start out with, you had the Trijicon RMR, Vortex Venom, Burst Fast Fire 3s and stuff like that were your options to go to. It's only really one of those nowadays that even still matters, and that's the RMR. You know what I mean? Since then, they've been replaced by a host of other options. Holosun has a crazy lineup of pistol options. You got SIG putting them out. Aim points, you got Delta Point Pros, you got you know, even down to saying the Siley, the Gideons, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a whole host. It's like, it's
from what I've seen, that Siley has one that is specifically advertised as like the most durable, meaning I think they dropped it from like a 12-foot like height onto a steel plate and it lasted. So yeah, there's really no, like, if you're getting into guns now, there's really no reason to not have an optic anymore. I understand that every gun will come with the iron, so at least understand them, but there's a lot of options out there.
I'll be real with you, even on that point, man. It's like, I don't buy a non-optics ready gun anymore. I don't care if I plan on putting an optic on it yet or not. I buy it optics ready. The only time, literally the only time I will buy a gun that's not optics ready out of the box is if I plan on getting it milled. That's literally it. It's predetermined.
I think mine would be a 1911. But that's just because I want the Smith & Wesson 1911 that obviously you could drop a dot on if you want, but I don't want to. And it's not going to be something I'm carrying around. Like that, you know what I'm saying?
Like, don't get me wrong. There is the circumstances like that, the outliers, right? Like 1911.
The history, nostalgic type.
Exactly.
I am putting an optic on this, but this will never replace this. Ever. Right. Zastava, I love y'all for this. I love you. But this gun just made me appreciate this one way more than I should have.
Man, I feel like it's a lot of guys out there that are AK guys, and no offense to y'all, I do not consider myself an AK guy. You know, the AK guys, they understand those in a way that I like respect. You know what I mean? This slanted muzzle brake is this series 103, 101, 105, 107 is, and I'm just like, AK. AK. Cool. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's guys that run these things. That's their system. And
shout out to Gorillas in the Mist. Those are my young boys from Georgia. They get busy with their AKs. And I will still argue with them to the death of me. No, like, it's not better than an AR platform.
Don't get me wrong. I know my way around running an AK. You know what I mean? Again, I like to be versed in platforms. Right. But with that being said, I appreciate the AR system for its modularity, simplicity, and functionality so much more than I can say I feel the AK really stands up to nowadays. You know what I mean? I'm even more fond of your AR-18, AR-180 systems and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So,
man, them MCXs, that's one that I need.
The MCX platform is dope, man. I picked up the Rattler LT recently. That's one that I'm working on setting up and getting right. That's gonna be my baby. But I got the Jackals in the mix, the CZ Bren 2s. You know what I mean? I want to pick up a Global Ordnance, the Monolith. I think that gun is crazy underrated, flying under the radar. Definitely the lightest weight system out there, hands down, for sure. The lightest weight one in that system and platform. Like, no debate about it. That gun is super light, and I need one in my collection. You know, so.
So, well, let's see what else you brought with you today. Let's talk about those, and then we'll wrap it up.
Speaking of Global Ordnance, man, like Strybot SP9A3. This is my baby. I did SBR this one. I haven't put the stock on it yet. Probably going to do a Midwest Industry folder on it. But I love that gun right now. I absolutely love that gun. PCC wise, that's been my favorite in the collection at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, hands down. And I got the MPXs, you know, man, like I said, I own a lot of guns. I try a lot of platforms. I have fun with all of them, but that's the one that kind of really wowed me. I love the trigger in that guy, especially out of the box. It was like super crisp, no slop in the take up or whatever that barely exists in it, and it shoots like a baby. You know, that was the firearm that got my lady into guns, bro. So
really?
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay.
And I got her a 1522 pistol to get her out there, like, oh, shoot this 22, get into it. I set it up like one of my 10.5s for her, like, yeah, so you learn this and then we can get you into that. She immediately was like, nah, the ARs are too heavy, I don't want to do it. Shot it twice, set it down. I'm like, all right. Handgun, she's like, I don't like the recoil, I don't want to shoot it. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Yeah, she picked this up, bro. She's been asking,
ear to ear
like,
smiles.
can we go shooting again? I'm like, anytime, let's do it.
Yep,
let's do it.
Hey, it's funny you say that, because I say all the time, I don't mean to diminish women or anything like that, but I say, like, my PCCs are, hey, if I'm not home and my girl has to do something, grab the PCC and get to work. It's going to have 30 rounds. You're going to be able to control the recoil. You know what you're doing. It's going to be the most accurate thing we got. So, yeah,
100%.
do that.
100%.
And just training, like, that essentially has the same functions and controls of your regular 5.56 platforms, but with cheaper ammo. Why wouldn't you train on that? You
and they're fun to shoot.
Yeah, PCCs are amazing to shoot.
Yeah. So really like that. Hats off to Global Ordnance for that guy, man. The A3 is nice, man. The A3 is nice.
What else you got over there?
Brought in my actual daily.
Okay.
X Macro Comp. Love that gun.
First one too, because
that was before they even started designating them as comp-based TAC ops, all of that. That was just the X Macro. I picked that up. That was the first gun that actually inspired me to do an actual write-up about it. 17+1 in that platform was something that easy to carry. Ridiculous, man. Blew me away. I bought it literally with those items to put on there. It was a regular tier LR7 sub on it at first. I upgraded it to the HLX USB now, but it was your OG sub on it out the gate, and I converted 11 of my close friends and homies to that platform. You can definitely
tell us the EDC too.
Yeah. That bad boy gets some lint and dust and all of that up in it. Yeah.
But this has always been what I tell people. I'm not a SIG fan. I am a macro fan. All day, every day. That is the easiest gun to teach on.
And
easiest gun.
I like this gun so much, I ended up picking 3 more of them up. I literally have one that I leave in Ohio at my parents' crib for when I fly home, so I didn't have to keep flying back and forth with this. And also even went and picked up the Legion, bro. Like, I had to grab it. I hate them new mags that don't let you drop the slide, but yeah, I had to pick up the Legion too, bro. I was like, I need it in metal just for longevity, and that thing feels so good in the hand. I was like, I gotta have it in the collection. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
What outfit you gonna put on here?
I got an EPS carry at the house already, so that's what's going on it. I just haven't thrown it on there yet. Yeah, those mags. Yeah.
Really?
Bruh, they did an update on the mags or something at some point, just rolled them out. And those followers, when they're empty, are like, you have to fight the gun. That or hold down the slide lever when you run it back to keep it from locking open. But yeah, EPS carry going on that baby. You know, I like the enclosed optics. Like that one, like I said, it's set up still in the OG configuration, so it got the 407K on it. But EPS carries, even the O sights, the SEs, like for $199 or you know what I mean, like. And
they're right here in Arizona now.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't know. O sight and O light are complete. They're under the same umbrella, completely different companies.
Yeah. When I found that out, I was like, okay, I can give this a shot. Picked one up from the shop.
They're like literally like here in Tempe. Like,
I know. I know. Yeah, and I found that out after the fact. And that was one of the other things that I discovered once I moved here is exactly how many random companies are here. I mean, every Glock I own, I put an Overwatch precision trigger in it.
Oh, there you go.
Didn't even know they were up there in Deer Valley until one day randomly I'm just strolling around up there and I'm like, wait, is that Overwatch? Like, let me roll one around the corner.
Overwatch?
Yeah.
So, adding to your point, this is my EDC today.
Yeah.
The
RXM is also, man. I hate that it took so long for people. It took so long for people to catch on to how good of a gun this is, man. Ruger and Magpul did their thing with this gun, honestly. Like, really did, especially at the price point.
Yeah.
Like, no-brainer pickup, must have, must add. You know, initially when it came out, a lot of the feedback was people trying to find something wrong with the gun. Yeah. You know, wanting to, again, be hard on the guns and, oh, it's not an actual Glock, just get a Glock. And then you look up a couple months down the line, people are like putting videos out. Maybe I was wrong about this. Well, hold on now. Actually, you know, it's like, this is a solid gun, bro. Out of the clones they don't care about because they're not doing as good of a job. Yeah. You know, this one is one that becomes actual competition at that point. So it makes sense.
I've sold other RXMs when I was working behind the counter by putting that gun next to other competitors that are Glock clones and then just flipping over the price tag and then being like, oh, really? I'm like, that's why that one is a much better option. Also, why? Because you're going to save that money, and that money that you're going to save, all you do is sign up for a class with me with it. So I'll double dip.
Come on in.
You know what I'm saying?
Also, a point to point out, I don't know if y'all see it from here, but that optic occlusion, man, that's a very underrated tool to have in the toolbox, man. Yep. My homie runs Gladiator 6, man. Shout out to the bros. Yo, Nuke.
Oh, Will. Yeah. Shout out to Will. Yeah.
I met him at Ohio Range Day a few years back. Okay. Man. But yeah, man, we linked up out there, chopped it up, found out we both frat brothers, we both noobs, all of that stuff, man, and we've been locked in since. A lot of respect for him. Yeah, but yeah, that's the homie, man. Yeah, I first seen him start talking about occluding, you know what I mean? And I was like, let me give that a go, because especially as we're talking about optics and irons and that type of stuff, like, it's a learning curve, you know what I mean? If you're transitioning, it's a learning curve. New shooters, I think it's a easy tool to understand. Yeah. You know what I mean? It makes sense. I'm not worried about where does this need to be, where does that go, how do I see this and do all of that. Dot, shoot. You know what I mean? Transitioning from a shooter's mindset, especially someone that was self-taught, I started off shooting with one eye closed. Then I learned I'm supposed to shoot with both eyes open, start shooting with both eyes open. And then it's like, go to a dot. Oh, I'm supposed to stare right there and let this just fall in line, not look at the dot, try to search for it in the window and all of that. Like, it took some time to get the hang of, you know?
It's just less steps between you drawing the gun and pressing the trigger.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell people, man, don't give up on it. You know, I think I frustrated myself very early on trying to learn with the dot and use it. I wanted to put it on guns because I thought it was like a cool touch, you know what I mean? The extra flair. But I mean, still today, I feel like I'm faster and more precise with irons because I have so much trigger time behind it. You know what I mean? But I mean, I'm legit with a dot. Don't get that twisted. You know what I mean?
Sure. Distance and the capabilities that the dot just gives you.
And it took dry fire, man. It took a lot of dry fire, sitting at home, pointing a gun up, presenting it at light switch or toast or something random. And one day it was just there.
Oh, light switches. Light switches are perfect for training because not only is it already small, but you got another smaller target. And
that was probably
the light switches.
Probably the most beneficial thing that I learned in getting into firearms was the aim small, miss small aspect. You know, like when I got into shooting, like we talked about before, how cheap ammo was back then. Going to Walmart, having to be able to pick it up, $5.95 a box of 50 blades of brass all day long, and it was like I was getting so much ammo just going to the range, essentially just making noise. But more so, it was like I enjoyed seeing the big, huge hole it would tear in the paper, right? And it was like everything on the target is pepper, but then it's this big, huge hole, and I was like, yeah, I had a good range day. And then it was like, slow it down. Load 5 rounds in your mag at a time, focus on what you're doing when you're shooting, build up the actual skill with purpose, and start aiming at smaller things. So I started aiming at the numbers on the silhouette target instead, you know what I mean? And it was like spending the time doing that caused me to dial in my shot groupings, you know? And I think that is something that's crazy beneficial that a lot of people don't do. They think I want to go get the big target and set it up there and go shoot, and as long as I hit the target or hit near it, I'm shooting, I'm good, I'm ready, and I'm prepared, and all of this stuff, when it's like you're not really controlling what you're doing in reality, you know.
I blame that on that movie Gun Education too, because we see like the action scene where it's the suspense part where they're getting ready to go to the battle or whatever, and they're going to the range getting better, and it's like, that's not a good target, yo. Or they're knocking over like bottles, and it's like, all right. Bro. And they're like, oh, now I'm dialed in, I'm ready. Right. It's like, no, you're not.
At all, man. At all.
Oh, that movie Gun Education. Speaking of that, that's a perfect segue. You get to train celebrities, sir. Yeah, we going straight into that just like that. Tell me about the experience of training people that are high profile individuals.
It's interesting, you know, because initially it was very intimidating. You know, first high profile client that I had was J.R. Smith, you know, when he was playing for the Cavs at that time, and he wanted a CCW class, and a cousin of mine works for, you know, the high profile sports management agency and all of that stuff, and he literally was like, yo, I need you to train somebody, you know what I mean? It was like, Swish need to get together, whatever. And I'm like, you know, I got him. Like, at the end of the day, whatever you call me for, you know, I'm showing up, I got you, whatever, you know what I mean? Especially in gun world.
Yeah.
And he was like, just pull up to his house. And I'm like, all right, well, where do we live? And he sent me the address, and it shows up on my phone in walking distance. And I was confused as heck, like,
oh, shit.
What? I'm like, I walk these dogs past his house every day. I didn't even know it. You know what I mean? Like, I see some nice cars and loud cars. Cause that dude, his cars are outrageous.
Oh, I believe it.
Right? And he always got the big motor cars too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I had no idea that was his house, or the cars that I would see in frequency and stuff was him driving them or whatever. So went over there, taught him, you know what I mean, class, did all of that stuff, whatever, and took him to the range, and he shot some of my guns, and he was like excited. He was like, yo, I need that, you know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, I can get you together, we can build what you need, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, cool. He was like, yeah, how much would it cost? And I'm like, you know, let me see about some parts, whatever, what you want. He was like, man, send me some inspo. So I started sending him some stuff, and naturally I'm sending him stuff that I would do, right, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah, I need that and that. Yeah, that too. And I was like, all right. He was like, yeah, how much? I'm like, man, it's probably gonna cost. He was like, yep. I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. But we locked in, man. That's the bro, man. Really got a lot of respect for him, and I do.
Ohio. So this was one of his. Oh, that's championship.
Yeah. So this is before the championship.
Yeah, that wasn't nothing to him.
Yeah, this is before championship, before they even won the ring.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, by the time they won that ring, man, that was my dog. Like, I'm like, bro, I said, what up, Swish? You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
Yeah, that plugged in with a lot of athletes and stuff in the industry, entertainers, celebrity figures, socialites, and all of that stuff, that it came full circle where it was like the go-to guy for that aspect of, I need this, or need some training for this, or this person needs that. And it was like, not that I ever, you know, brush it off. I think it's always like a part of me that's like, that was crazy. You know what I mean? And I think the even crazier part of it is, with my story, knowing that I just came into this and just took a real fondness of just studying this craft and this and this and the other, that it grew to that point where people actually respected me in it. And I speak very frequently to people, and I'm telling them all of the time, like, people in this industry that I genuinely look up to, and I'm like, yo, I ain't them. I don't hold a candlelight to this individual. Like, how are y'all even viewing me or impressed by what I know or my skill set in this world? I'm like, I'm still growing in this, you know what I mean?
Because you're the expert that they found.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. I tell people all the time, even the students, is like, yo, you are now a gun expert to somebody else who's in your social circle, in your ecosystem, that doesn't know anything. Now you are now a source of information, resource, however you want to title it.
It's funny, man, because even like just the experience that I get, and that's kind of what I love about working in the industry, you know what I mean? Like dealing with first-time gun buyers or even experienced gun owners and this and the other. And it's like, I always get that feedback of people appreciating the knowledge base or the interaction they have with me on that. And I tell them it's because I was on the other side of the counter and how I was treated when I walked into some places versus other places that embrace me. You know, like the shop I did my CCW class at when I was 21, Cleveland's out in Toledo.
Okay.
It was one of those shops that I walked into, and young black guy, not knowing what I'm doing with these guns, just like a lot of people fascinated with them and thinking video game, this, that, and the other and stuff. They embraced me and encouraged me still. You know, when I showed up to the range, they met me with excitement, were happy to see me coming. They were watching through the windows and giving me the nods like, bro, you're doing a lot better now. Oh, you improved, man. You like, dad, you did that fast. Like, you were just here last week, man. That shot grouping is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, that poured into me in a sense where it was like, I felt a part of the community there. I felt like I had a home there, being like, I'm not alienated as here comes somebody walking in here that's this type of person or that type of person and half treating them any type of way or whatever. It was like, they treated me like anybody else that loved guns that walked into their doors. So that's what I wear, you know, on my heart when I'm dealing with people with this is, I don't care what you look like, how you present yourself. That doesn't change the fact that you are genuinely here to either learn about firearms or that you are already a firearm enthusiast that is in the midst that I don't even know. You know what I mean? I can't size you up and judge you off of that. So,
I understand that role because it's like some people they're fearful of whatever imagery the person is portraying at the time. And my thing is like, if you are confident enough in your skill set and how you relay information, you should, if that's a person that, because a lot of times all I would see was like a preconceived assumption about like a political stance. It's like, all right, well, flip them right now. Like, flip that person from whatever they are to being pro what you are, and you can start that right now with a gun, because that's the first common denominator that y'all probably ever gonna have.
Or just simply even by not being a dick to them in general. You know what I mean? Because it's a perspective, just like we talk about how the image of an African American with a gun is already going to be received or portrayed, or what is in the media versus what we actually know in the community and see. The same thing applies at that point. There's a conception in people's mind that gun owners are all this type of person or this, that, and the other. So maybe be the positive example with your interaction with them that gets them to understand, like, okay, maybe everybody isn't just a gun-toting, Wild West, shoot everybody up person. Like, there are people here with level minds that genuinely are here to do this with respect, that are here to worry about safety and just protection and not, you know what I mean? It's like, it's thing that I like to tell people is like, perceptions are built off of reality, right? And people's experience curate their own realities. You know what I mean? That's why everybody has their own perspective of life, is what you're exposed to or how you have lived your life, what you're surrounded by and see as your norm. And if someone's norm is watching that TV and seeing what gun owners are doing, or them looking like hicks or rednecks or this, that, and the other, and they think everyone that's into guns is that, and then they walk in and get their jaw blew off by, here you are as a well-presented person that's not what they thought you were going to be because you're into guns or this, and the other, it's like, that mind is going to start to twist and turn. And then even like my mom, you know what I mean? Prime example is like, what she thought it meant for me to have a gun versus the respect she has for it now, and seeing how I actually am with firearms and how I treat them, how I handle myself. Like, I'm gonna be so honest with you, I was far more reckless when I wasn't carrying a gun than when I started carrying a gun.
I was gonna ask you about that. Did the gun calm you down at all?
100%. And don't get me wrong, I had some rocky bumps in the road along the way, as I said, maturing and growing with it, you know what I mean? But with that being said, you know what I mean? You know, I carry myself in a manner of now knowing, one, my proficiency with a firearm. I know for a fact that, like, if I pull my gun, it's only because it came down to the point of I'm going home or they're going home. You know what I mean? And that comes down to a very literal statement, because if I squeeze that trigger, it's not like I'm shooting and we're gonna say, it's like,
ain't no warning shots,
bro. I'm hitting the target. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hitting my target. So at that point, it's like, that started to register in my mind. You know, like, do I want to deal with the ramifications of taking someone's life? You know, and not saying that in a sense that I'm not prepared to, in every sense of the, you know what I mean? Meaning, it's like, I pray literally I never have to do that to someone, or I'm never put in that position where my hand is forced in that capacity, because I don't want to deal with the media portraying me in a way. Now my day job, my coworkers are looking at me and possibly letting me go because they're thinking I'm some wild murderer or this or the other and all of that. The civil lawsuits, rolling the dice on if I survive it or they survive it, the legal ramifications of if it's going to get cleared for self-defense or I'm going to jail now because somebody else was doing something crazy. You know what I mean? It's like all of these things start to add up in your mind where you're like,
I just don't feel like dealing with this today. You got it, bro. I'm out.
You know, you know. Whereas before it was a lot of, man, I got time. I got a lot of time for it. Like,
oh man,
shit, more than time for it.
I'll make time for it.
Yeah, we walking and we in the club, we chilling, whatever. Somebody said something to you, and I'm like, what did you just say? What happened? What's going on? like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
because I mean, a lot of people I feel like that are more gun ho and willing to go shooting their gun or pulling their gun out are not the people that are out there training every day and actually proficient with their guns. They're the spray and prayers. They're the people that just want to let the shots off. And I'm like, I don't do just letting shots off.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So
I'm not shooting in your leg. I'm not shooting near you. I'm shooting you.
Very efficiently.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I kind of asked you the 1 to 3 question already, but where will we see you, or what will we see you doing in the next 1 to 3 years? You talked about engineering. We have the suppressor tsunami that's about to hit in less than 30 days now. What you got going on?
Man, the content creation, definitely diving heavily into that. I finally got over the hurdle of not wanting to necessarily put myself out there in that space, you know what I mean? And now I kind of embrace it, of saying, you know, I do have the knowledge of it. I do love this world so much that I want to give people that lens of how I see it, you know. And I've had a lot of feedback over the years from students that follow me, or because most of my following is genuinely people that I know in life, you know what I mean? And people think that that's crazy to be like, you know, 3-point-something thousand people. I'm like, I know a lot more than that. Trust me. You know what I mean? But I get feedback, everyday DMs from people that are either asking me questions about guns, suggestions for purchases, where should they go buy this gun or that and this, that, and the other, how they've fallen in love with guns because of me posting about it more and being more open about it, or even just exposing them to offerings that exist. And that's more of my lane of what I want to do, is just be a lens, be a vessel of saying, like, this is the world of guns. These are all the different things that are out here as options. These are how you can enjoy guns for fun and enjoyment. Because that's what I would hear all the time. Is like, man, you make shooting guns look so fun. And I'm like, it is.
Yeah, it is fun.
It really is.
Training is the most fun part of owning guns.
I swear.
And it'll eventually save you money. Because like you were saying earlier, once you go to the range and you know what you're actually doing or focusing on, you only are going to allocate so many rounds to that before you're like, all right.
And that's when it actually becomes fun. That's when shooting becomes fun.
Yep.
When you actually build the skills. When you actually get to start doing running and gunning, drills that involve incorporating drawing from concealment, transitioning between weapons, transitioning targets, different distances. It's like, that's when it is fun.
Yep.
Going to an indoor range, I despise, bro. It's so mundane and boring to just sit there and be like, my target's right here in front of me, move it back further and keep shooting straight right. I'm like, it's monotonous. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it gets fun when you get better to be able to actually go hit your target that you want to intend and add complications into the mix of that.
I agree.
Aside from that, jumping heavily into the customization side, you know, I've been blessed to be able to dabble in that through personal ventures and business ventures that have allowed that to be an expression for me that I want to continue to further and develop. With the company I spun up, you know, we got the full Cerakote set up, the lasers and all of that stuff too. Okay. So it's like being able to truly go crazy in that world is on the very, very immediate forefront of life. And lastly, just continuing to be a figure within the industry, bridging a lot of those gaps, because I feel like the industry is so full of hatred in a sense, you know what I mean? And I mean hatred in the sense of a lot of haters, as well as people that just want to spew hate towards each other, the egos, the all of this and all of that, you know what I mean? The racisms, the whole shebang. I'm thankful to say that I operate and function in the world that I want to and that I choose to. Mm-hmm. And I'm a genuine person and like to move genuinely. So I've been able to nurture a lot of relationships a lot easier than other people have been able to, probably because I have organic, real conversations with people. And it's taken me into realms and aspects with companies that I never even imagined. As I look back in the years of, I'm about to start shooting, I'm going to go buy a gun, that I would be there. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to SHOT Show again this year because it's turned into the meet up with the homies. You know what I mean?
Star Weekend.
You know what I mean?
That's one of the aspects, and one of the perceptions I need people to start understanding. SHOT Show is not the Super Bowl. It's All-Star Weekend.
And people gotta quit crying so much, bro.
Yeah.
It's like people just want to cry, and then you want to be able to cry on somebody's shoulder, so you join in what they're crying about. It's like, bro, shut up already, bro.
Like, you're still going to announce that you got your SHOT Show acceptance email like you got into a college. You know what I mean? Like, and it's always hilarious.
It does get a little tiresome and kind of burnt out of doing the repeat conversation, repeat pitch. So I can understand that part of it. Have been like, by the end of the first day, you're like, bro, I got to get right back up at what time to go back out here and go talk to people again. Like, this is our product. This is what it does. This is, you know what I mean? Like, I get that part of it, but nonetheless, for me, it's like the camaraderie that we really love about the gun industry is what is exuded when you go to SHOT Show and you say we get all of these people in one room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got so many panels, interviews. I got everything.
I can only imagine.
It's fun. You know what I mean? It's fun.
Like, I'm nowhere near the scale you are in the industry, so I can only imagine for you what it's really like. I know.
It has been busy. I'll say this year is probably going to be consolidated, but it's still a full schedule. But nah, man, you're going to be in some of the same rooms I'm going to be in when we there. So
100%.
I ain't worried about that at all. All right, so last question: where can everybody find you, follow you, get in touch with you, all that good contact information stuff?
Social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Raimi Ray, RAIMIERAI. And I do hear a lot of people asking how to say that. Raimi Ray. Childhood nickname was Raimi. As I got older, it's shortened to Ray. And then people just started running it together. So that's what it is. The shop that I spun up is shooters_sanctuary_AZ. And then I run the AZ Guns Tempe page as well, so that is AZ Guns_Tempe. Feel free, hit me up on there, swing by the shop, either of them. I'll be more than happy to see you guys, talk with you guys, chop it up, help you out any way I can, man.
Buy a gun from them. Do that.
Hey, come on in. And one thing that I take pride in is I'm not the guy that's in there. I'm not doing the commission sales. I'm not doing all of that. So I don't care what gun it is you buy. I genuinely, and you can read the reviews on Google. I'll take every gun out the case and go through them with you to be like, which one is going to make you happy? But I'm not going to take no BS out. I'm not going to let you buy no bullshit.
They don't have any, to be honest. I went the other day and y'all have a very, very nice selection.
I take pride in that, man.
Price ranges too, like quality that anybody can get into.
I take a lot of pride in that, man, as I got the blessing to kind of control inventory and stuff that's coming through that site. I was like, man, I want to get in here the variety and diversity of things that are purposeful, the things that people actually want to see in their hands, and the things that deserve to be in people's hands, and like you said, at various price points, you know. So,
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, bro.
I appreciate
this is probably going to be my
man.
favorite conversation that I've had. But we're going to have to get on the range soon,
without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah, I definitely want to jump in that class, January.
Let's do that.
Definitely, for sure, man. And then we can get out here any weekend. I go shoot literally once a week, if not 2 or 3 times. So, yeah, I'm still at the point where I'm putting somewhere in the range of 1,000 to 1.5 down a week, whether it's just trying out different platforms or whatever. Like, legitimately mean that. Like, I'm out there all the time enjoying this, bro. So.
Okay, cool. Well, we gonna do that then. All right, y'all. Hey, nothing else. We out.
Hey.